Hello guys.
Hello, sir.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
I replaced Mr. Farhan as a teacher, and you already know Mr. Farhan already retired, right?
Yes, sir.
And my name is Mahesa Dzikra, and you can call me Mr. Hes.
Hello, Mr. Hes.
I don't know about your name, so introduce yourself from you.
So let me introduce myself. My name is TEFL and I am still 15 years old.
What about your hobbies?
I don't really like anything in particular, but I think that I like reading. I think
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, just that.
Yeah, just that I think.
Okay, now you.
Okay, my name is Indra, sir.
Alright.
I'm 15 years old, and my hobby is same like Stepa, is reading.
That's good. How about you?
Hello, sir. My name is Hadi, and I am 15 years old. And my hobby is riding a bicycle and playing game. Thank you, sir.
Okay, now you.
Hello sir, my name is Bahtiar, but you can call me Bakti. And my hobby is I like archery and I also like jogging and riding bicycle.
That's good. You like sports, right?
Yes, I like that.
That's good. Okay, now I want to teach you about this. Listening. Okay, from now on, let's begin. So today we're gonna study about listening. First, I want to explain what the meaning of listening. Listening is the process of actively receiving and interpreting auditory stimuli. It involves not just hearing sounds but also understanding their meaning. The parts of listening include receiving and interpreting, evaluating, and responding to the information conveyed through the speech and or other sounds. And how to listen well is the key is first give full attention, focus on the speaker, and avoid distractions like phones or internal thoughts. Second is show empathy. Try to understand the speaker's perspective and emotions. 3. Be open-minded. Approach the conversation without judgment or preconceived notions. 4. Ask clarifying questions. If something isn't clear, ask for clarification to ensure you understand correctly. 5. Practice active listening. Engage with the speaker by nodding, making eye contact, and providing verbal affirmation. 6. Paraphrase and summarize. Reflect back what the speaker said to show understanding and confirm comprehension. Control your response is number 7. Avoid interrupting or jumping to conclusions before the speaker finish. 8. Be patient. Allow the speaker to express themselves fully without rushing or interrupting. So to practice your listening skills, there is 2 audio and I will play it. So listen carefully. So the first audio I will play Marco Polo, and the second is Cornelis the Hotman. So now I will play the Marco Polo story.
The Travels of Marco Polo. Who was Marco Polo? Marco Polo was born on September 15, 1254 in Venice, Italy. He died in January of 1324 in Venice, Italy. He was the son of Niccolo Polo and nephew of Maffeo Polo. He wrote an autobiography called The Travels of Marco Polo, or Il Milione. He provided inspiration for other explorers such as Christopher Columbus. He was inspired to travel by his mom's death in 1269. Journey to China. Marco's father and uncle set sail from Constantinople to Crimea for trade. They received an invitation to meet Kublai Khan. In 1265, they arrived at Kaifeng, the capital of Kublai Khan's Mongol Empire. They stayed until 1269 and returned to Europe with the request for the Pope to send 100 missionaries to the Mongol Empire. The message was relayed to the Pope,
listen
but did
carefully
not
to
send
the
missionaries
audio.
requested.
I will give you some questions
Marco
after
Polo's
the
first journey.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Marco accompanied his father and uncle to the Holy Land, Persia, Tartary, and to the Empire of China. The Polo family traveled across the Silk Road. In 1274, they reached Cathay and renewed their friendly acquaintance with Kublai Khan in Peking and presented him with papal letters. Marco's father and uncle were given important positions at his court. While here, Marco studied the Chinese language, which he learned to speak. The Polos stay in China. Marco Polo's voyage to China was important because it was land that the Europeans had never visited before. While in China, he was promoted to governor of the great Chinese city, Yangzhou. In 1275, Marco was appointed as an envoy, or messenger or representative, for Kublai Khan and traveled through China. From then on, he was employed as an envoy for the Chinese monarch. Polo family leaves China. In 1293, the three decide to make their way back to Venice. However, they escort Princess Kokachin to her wedding and the party after. The fleet of ships that had the wedding party on it sailed southward on the China Sea. Stops were made at Borneo, Sumatra, Ceylon, and other places, including the Persian Gulf. They were entertained by the Persians for weeks and adorned with expensive gifts. Polos arrived back in Venice. They arrived back in Venice in 1295 with the finest collection of jewels. They were changed in appearance. They dressed in Tatar costume and spoke Chinese. It was hard to convince people they were members of the Polo family.
Hey, listen to the audio.
Upon their arrival, the Polos threw a lavish party dressed in Chinese garb. At the bottom of the robes, rubies, emeralds, and diamonds were sewn into the lining. In 1298, Marco Polo was made a gentleman commander of a Venetian galleon. Marco Polo was captured by the Genoese. When Marco Polo returned from Cathay, Venice was at war with Genoa. They were fighting for the trade of the world. In a great naval battle, the Venetians were completely defeated by the Genoese. Marco Polo was involved in the battle and was captured by the enemy. Marco Polo dictates an account of his travels. For a year, he was confined to the Genoese prison. While here, Marco dictated his experiences to China, Japan, and other countries to a cellmate, who was a skillful penman. Copies of the manuscript exist today. One copy is in Paris and another is in Bern. The accounts were translated into many different languages, so everyone is aware of his travels. The impact of Marco Polo's travels on Europe. Marco Polo's travels increased Europe's cultural knowledge of the East in everyday lifestyle and also religion. Marco Polo's travels encouraged European geographic knowledge of the East. He also inspired the Age of Discovery. This encouraged Western exploration, which led to the first European voyages to the New World. Christopher Columbus also used Polo's accounts of his travels to help estimate the distance involved in sailing west to China. Polo's system of measuring distances by days turned out to be very accurate for later generations. He impacted European map-making to reflect real physical geography. He brought back the compass to Europe. He also encouraged new trade routes. He shared inventions from the Far East, such as paper money, coal, which led to long-lasting heat, and gunpowder. The impact of Marco Polo's travels on today. Marco Polo's work is considered the precursor of scientific geography. He was also the inspiration for the exploration of outer space in the 20th century. Marco Polo was the inspiration for international trade between the East and the West. Here's a map of Marco Polo's travels between 1271 and 1295.
So you all already listened to the audio, right?
Yes.
And you already know the point. So now I will give you some question. Number one, I'll give you question for Dito.
Yes, sir.
What inspired Marco Polo to embark on his journey to China?
Marco Polo was inspired to travel to China by the death of his mother in 2069, which sparked his interest in exploration, sir.
That's good, Dito.
Hey.
And number two is Tia. I'll ask you, how did Marco Polo become involved in diplomatic affairs in China?
I think Marco Polo became involved in diplomatic affairs in China when he was appointed as an envoy or representative for Kublai Khan after being promoted to governor of the city of Yangzhou.
That's good, yeah. And number three, I give to Stefan. How did Marco Polo's return to Venice in 1295 reflect in his experience in China?
Upon returning to Venice in 1295, Marco Polo and his companions, dressed in Chinese garb adorned with precious gems sewn into the lining, showcasing their assimilation into Chinese culture and their wealth acquired during their travels.
Nice, Stefan. And number four, I give to Andre. What impact did Marco Polo's travels have on European exploration and map making?
My answer is Marco Polo's travels inspired the age of discovery and increased Europe's geographical knowledge of the East. This account also influenced European map making to accurately reflect the physical geography of distant lands.
That's nice, Andre. And now I will play the second audio about Cornelis de Houtman. Listen it carefully. So this is the second audio about Cornelis de Houtman.
He led the first Dutch expedition to the East Indies, challenging the Portuguese monopoly on the spice trade. He showed that the Portuguese monopoly was vulnerable, leading to the establishment of a Dutch monopoly. His name is Cornelis de Houtman. In the late 16th century, a Dutch explorer by the name of Cornelis de Houtman set out on a bold and ambitious journey that would forever alter the course of global trade. Born in 1565, Houtman was a seasoned merchant seaman with a keen eye for opportunity. Inspired by the tales of the legendary Spice Islands, he sought to challenge the Portuguese monopoly on the lucrative spice trade. In 1595, Houtman assembled a crew and set sail from the Dutch port city of Amsterdam, bound for the fabled East Indies. His expedition consisted of 4 ships, namely the Mauritius, the Doetinchem, the Amsterdam, and the Hollandia. The crew braved treacherous waters and faced numerous challenges along the way, but their determination was unwavering. Their journey took them across the Indian Ocean, passing by Goa, the Portuguese colony in India. From there, they continued their voyage along the eastern coast of Africa, calling at Madagascar before reaching Banten in Java. Houtman and his crew were met with both hostility and curiosity as they encountered local rulers and traders along their route. Navigating through the Malacca Strait, they ventured into the Sunda Strait, passing the islands of Madura and Bali. Finally, after months of arduous travel, the expedition reached the island of Java, a hub of spice trade in the region. Although the expedition did not yield the desired profits, Houtman's voyage laid the foundation for future Dutch trading ventures. His success in challenging the Portuguese monopoly on the spice trade inspired a wave of Dutch expeditions to the East Indies. These subsequent voyages eventually led to the displacement of the Portuguese and the establishment of Dutch dominance in the spice trade. Cornelis de Houtman's expeditions have had a profound impact on the world, ushering in an era of Dutch colonialism and shaping the course of global trade. His bold and audacious journey paved the way for future explorers and traders, leaving an indelible mark on the history of the East Indies and the world. Cornelis de Houtman, accompanied by his brother Frederick, journeyed to Lisbon, Portugal on behalf of their wealthy cousin, Rainier Pau. It is uncertain whether their purpose was purely business or if they were acting as spies, gathering information on the Portuguese spice trade in the East Indies. Meanwhile, another Dutch merchant, Jan Huygen van Linschoten, returned to Amsterdam from Goa, bringing with him valuable knowledge about navigation in the spice trade in the region. Upon their return to Amsterdam, Cornelis and Frederick shared the information they gathered, which included crucial details on navigation and trade. This newfound knowledge inspired Pau and several other wealthy merchants to establish the company Van Veer in 1592. The company aimed to finance a Dutch trading expedition to the East Indies, following the maps provided by the renowned Dutch cartographer, Petrus Plancius, allegedly obtained from Bartolomeo de Lasso, Spain's royal cosmographer. With the support of the company Van Veer, Cornelis de Houtman embarked on a bold journey to the East Indies. His expedition set sail from Amsterdam in search of new trade routes and opportunities. The voyage took him to various places, including Goa, Madagascar, Banten, Java, and the Malacca Strait. In their quest for spices, Cornelis and his crew faced numerous challenges, including navigating treacherous waters such as the Sunda Strait and the Madura Sea. Despite the difficulties, they persevered, making significant discoveries and establishing trade connections along the way. One notable stop on their journey was at the island of Bali, where Houtman and his crew interacted with the local population and discovered the island's unique culture and customs. Cornelis de Houtman's expedition marked the beginning of Dutch trade in the East Indies, laying the foundation for future Dutch colonial endeavors in the region. His voyage not only opened up new trade routes but also contributed to the knowledge and understanding of the East Indies and its spice trade.
If you want to discover more adventurers on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button for my channel, and don't forget...
Okay, you already listen to the audio, right?
Yes,
And now I will give you some question about Cornelis de Houtman. Right now, Stefan, I will ask you first, what inspired Cornelis de Houtman to embark on his expedition to the East Indies?
Well, Cornelis de Houtman, he was inspired by the tales of the legendary spice island and sought to challenge the Portuguese monopoly on the spice trade, aiming to find new trade routes and opportunities.
Good, Stefan. And second question, I'll go to Andre. Second question is, how did Cornelis de Houtman contribute to Dutch colonialism in the East Indies?
My answer is Cornelis de Houtman's expedition laid the foundation for Dutch trade in the East Indies, leading to subsequent Dutch expedition and ultimately the displacement of the Portuguese, establishing Dutch dominance in the spice trade and paving the way for Dutch colonial endeavors in the region.
That's good, Andre. And number 3, I'll go to Tia.
yes, sir.
What challenge did Cornelis de Houtman and his crew face during their expedition?
I think that Cornelius and his crew faced numerous challenges, including navigating treacherous waters such as the Sunda Strait and the Madura Sea, encountering hostility and curiosity from the local rulers and traders, and also enduring an arduous journey across the Indian Ocean. So,
Nice, yeah. And the last question, I'll go to Dito. How did Cornelis de Houtman acquire knowledge about navigation and the spice trade?
Cornelis de Houtman acquired valuable knowledge about navigation and spice trade through the information gathered by his brother Frederick and himself during their journey to Lisbon, Portugal, possibly acting as spies, as well as from Dutch merchant Jan Huygen van Linschoten upon his return to Amsterdam from Goa.
That's good, Dito. And yes, that's some question from the audio. So you already listened to the audio, and now I will explain the conclusion. Conclusion is listening is a fundamental skills that involves actively receiving and interpreting auditory stimuli, understanding their meaning, and responding appropriately. To listen well, one must give full attention, show empathy, be open-minded, ask clarifying questions, practice active listening, paraphrase and summarize, control responses, and be patient. This practice facilitate effective communication and build stronger connection with others. Marco Polo's story exemplifies the impact of exploration and cultural exchange. His travel to introduce new his travels to China expand European geographic knowledge, introduce new invention and trade routes, and inspire future explorers like Christopher Columbus. Additionally, Cornelius de Houtman expedition to the East Indies marked the beginning of Dutch trade in the region, leading to Dutch colonial endeavors and shaping global trade dynamics. Both Marco Polo and Cornelius de Houtman's journey highlight the importance of listening beyond just hearing. They actively engage with unfamiliar cultures, listen to the perspective of others, and adapted to new environments, ultimately contributing to the exchange of ideas, goods, and knowledge between different parts of the world. And that's the conclusion of today studying. And thank you for coming to today class. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Have a good day, sir.